What's up guys, Hardcore Hector here with another consumer video, and in this video I'm going to try my hardest to explain the Nintendo DS handhelds. And of course DS stands for dual screens because those are the handhelds with two screens. DS, dual screen. So there's DS, 2DS, 3DS, 3DS XL, 3DS LLs, and new 3DSs and new 2DSs and all that stuff. So let's start off at the beginning. First, there was the Nintendo DS. And the DS played DS games and Game Boy Advance games, because there's also a bottom slot for the Game Boy Advance cartridges. So it played Game Boy Advance and DS games. That was the Nintendo DS. There's also the DS Lite and the DSi, and they're just smaller versions. Those aren't really important because that's really old tech, and they're pretty similar, just smaller versions, unless you're getting imports. That's a different topic, imports. So after the DS was the 3DS. Not the 2DS, the 3DS. It was called the 3DS because it was dual screen and also it had 3D function capabilities on the top screen. So 3D, DS, 3DS. Makes sense, right? So it started with the 3DS. That was the next generation. And the 3DS played DS games and 3DS games. Got that? Is that clear? Then the larger versions of the 3DS came out, which was the 3DS XL in, I believe, in US and I think Europe. I know it was in the US. I'm not 100% sure if it was Europe. But in Japan, they called it the 3DS LL. So the XL and the LL, same thing, just different regions. So after the 3DS and 3DS XL and stuff, which was just bigger screens. That was it, bigger screens. Oh, and a bigger battery life, and a bigger memory card, but whatever. So after those was the 2DS. So the reason they made the 2DS was to have compatibility with 3DS games, but it didn't have the 3D functions on the top screen. They didn't include 3D functions because a lot of people didn't play 3D. There's a lot of games that didn't have 3D capabilities. And supposedly you're not supposed to look at 3D if you're under 10 years old because your eyes are still developing or something, and it says warnings on the box: do not use if you're under 10, do not use the 3D functions if you're under 10. You can still play the games. So that was the 2DS. It was basically the size of the 3DS, but it's solid. It didn't fold up like a clamshell. It's solid slate, size of the 3DS, plays 3DS games and DS games. But that's it. There are no 2DS games. Some people kept asking me when I was working retail, are there 2DS games? No, there are no 2DS games. There's only DS games and 3DS games. Okay, so that's that. After the 2DS came the new 3DS XL. And so they called it new because it came from Japan, and sometimes they use English words, and then, you know, it makes sense to them. That's just an English word. You know, if they just dropped a Japanese word in some English name of a console, we would understand. But since they included just new in the title, that confused the shit out of people who spoke English. And so the new 3DS had an upgraded processor in it and a near field communication for amiibos and a C-stick and an extra shoulder button. So it has LR and ZL and ZR. So it was a huge improvement, but the only thing they added to the name was new. So yeah, it confused a lot of people. And so the new 3DS could play 3DS games and DS games and select new 3DS games, because there are special 3DS games that need that extra processing power in that new 3DS. So I think Monster Hunter Origins, or Monster Hunter whatever online, was one of those games that needed that special processing power. Super Smash Brothers was another one, I believe. So you could only play those select, like maybe 10 max 3DS games on the new 3DS. Then came the new 2DS XL. So basically the new 2DS XL is the exact same thing as the new 3DS XL, except it does not have 3D capabilities. And I think that's pretty much it. So that's the DS, the 2DS, the 3DS, and the new 2DS, 3DSs. But now they're pretty much all older, past generations, because the new handheld, well, it's a handheld console hybrid, which is the Nintendo Switch. But of course, they're still making games for the 3DS, and some great games at that. But the 3DS is slowly waning away, and the Nintendo Switch is becoming the new handheld and console for Nintendo. So I hope this video was helpful to consumers out there. If you thought it was helpful, you can give this video a thumbs up. And if you're still confused about anything, feel free to leave a comment. I'll try and clear things up. And subscribe to my channel for more video game tech related stuff. Sometimes I do, consumer and walkthrough type videos like this. Sometimes I just do fun videos, gameplay and commentary and tech stuff, unboxings, whatevs. That's it. See you guys later.